After what looked like a guaranteed win toward the ends of last week, Declan Eady was left to watch from the sidelines as Joshua Tin took his 4th victory in a row. But Joshua showed he was not impervious to mistakes. Were it not for his luck that Eady crashed out, he would have given away the victory due to a spin. Cracks are starting to show, but will they break wide here at Road America? We'll have to find out as we get ready to watch round 5 of the PRL Indy Pro 2000 series, and you'll see it all here live on the Global SimRacing Channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm DJ Clark, and with me in the booth is Austin Puaka. Behind our scenes is our director, Joe Peak, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Rodex in almost every series of iRacing. To understand why, let's head to our track guide.
Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend for boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But 2 of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Hill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why.
As you can see there, Road America is not only one of the best, but one of the most scenic race venues in all of North America. And here to tell us more is my co-commentator, Ozzy.
Yes, hello DJ, fantastic to be here once again. And Road America, Elkhart Lake, the track with many names, fantastic venue, very scenic. With these cars, however, it can feel almost a little bit boring. I mean, you're in a very small powered Little Wings car, one of the a big part of the Road to Indy series in real life, and down those straights you're like, why am I not in a full-fledged Indy car? Why am I not doing 200 miles an hour, but 150 instead? But trust me, it can still be a deceiving. We see how those guys can make it work tonight.
Well, it's going to be a great spectacle to watch, and just a reminder that tonight's broadcast is proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible level of immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check out all of their products at thebuttkicker.com. If you want to advertise with us, GSRC offers a wealth of options to get your branding to 1 million monthly impressions. If your organization is looking for a global audience to advertise with, look no further than GSRC. Follow the link to learn more. And as qualifying is underway here, we're going to jump very quickly to our standings in the series this year. Now, we have 2 championships that we're following. The Pro Series is what you're seeing pop up right there on screen. Our 4-time and dominant champion, Joshua Chin, currently leading the standings with 147 points, with David Serwal right behind him at 26 points back. Alex Guyon, Olivier Legault, and Austin Eady was the only guy to be able to start to break Joshua Chin. Not in that top 5, but very strong this year. Ozzy, why don't you walk us through the AM driver standings?
Oh yes, we have the AM category as well, with Dave Peterson leading, 125 points, notched up this season, only 9 points ahead of Owen McLachlan. David Cristelli rounding up the top 3 with Tyler Gore and Michael Broomhead finding.
And we do have one more championship on the roster here, and that is the Team Championship. And leading the way is Team Talent, sitting up there with 238 points. Second, Lavoie Motorsports with just 15 points. In third with Blown Tranny and Seagull Vision Racing, one of my personal favorite team names, there behind. And one last little bit of detail that we want to go through before we can get to the action on the track, and that's the race details. Ozzy, how about you walk us through it?
Oh yeah, it's round 5 out of 10. We're approaching halfway point of the championship. 45-minute race, as you're used to, with open setup for these cars. That means you can adjust them however you like. There's also penalties in case you are being a naughty boy. You'll get called through at 11 incidents, disqualification at 20 incidents. Bonus points for the pole position, fastest lap, and 3 incidents or less.
And the one thing to keep in mind here, Rick, on some of these wide corners, it is very easy to pick up a few off tracks, so we may see 1 or 2 of those moments pick up as we watch here the heartbreak of last week. Declan Eady making his way around the course. Eady currently sitting in top position with a 159.757. Qualifying laps can be a little bit deceptive as they can be influenced by the draft on these long straights.
Absolutely, that's gonna be a key thing in acquiring a good lap time. If you want a good visual explanation of what it's all about, Declan Eady is right now leading his teammate David Gass around the track, currently coming out of turn number 5 into turn number 6. They got Eric LeBlanc and Kevin Sandana as well, and I don't do a Twitter solo for us tonight.
No, I don't think he is either. Now, one other thing to keep in mind, you mentioned the draft. That means that there can be a little here, and to talk a little bit more about the fuel saving, we're happy to welcome to the booth Joseph Tebben, our pit lane reporter, to talk a little bit more about the strategy around Road America.
Yeah, the fuel strategy is always interesting in these Indy Pro 2000 races, but especially here, with the effect of the draft. If you're sucking behind a guy, as some commentators affectionately call it, you're going to use less fuel because you're pushing through less air. But because this track has such long straights, you're also using a lot of fuel. So there's going to be an interesting balancing act between those two things, and we'll see which drivers can handle the fuel.
It'll certainly be a storyline to check out through the race. As you see here on screen, championship leader Joshua Chin making his way around the track. That's him working through those last couple of corners, that very, very fast flick before getting back up onto the main straight here, and that wonderful rise to the start-finish line.
Yeah, he's one of the only 2:30 magical 2-minute mark here in qualifying. He doesn't improve on pad lap, but him and Declan Eady are the only ones to break that multi-minute barrier with Rodriguez, Ciru, and 8 behind them. We still have about 6 minutes left in the lap. This is when it gets hot. Oh, and outside of your pictures, I think I saw her crashing sounds. That's Chin, and he's gonna have to start another lap. But Robert Viso Jr. as well coming across the line, and you're gonna really find something interesting here, DJ. Something I want to talk about, especially during the race, which is the mixing of these Pro and AM drivers. Now that we got a draft track, so to speak, so we're mixing between the classes than we're used to.
I think that's very much in the cards for us, Ozzy. As we saw last week, David Cristelli, that top-rated AM driver, really proving his worth and fighting up with the big boys, getting a top 5 there for Cristelli. Great run as we ride on board with Andreas Eick as he makes his way down here. This world-famous Canada corner. Oh, I love the way that corner turns. One of the great mysteries in the world as to why it is called Canada Corner, but nevertheless, a great corner nonetheless.
I think it was a couple of the workers here. They were Canadian or something, and they left products from Canada in the corner or something. I remember actually our director Joe Peak talking about it, and he's gonna be chastising me so much for not remembering exactly why it's called Canada Corner. Now, a fun tidbit is that in Finland we used to have this urban myth about Canada Corner being named that way. Because if you crash hard enough, you'll end up in Canada. Now, I checked it after that, and it's about 250 miles from that. I don't think we'll see that far from north.
I would hope not, but we have seen these cars fly a little bit here and there. Big. As you watch here, Andreas Eick working his way down these long twisting straights before they get into this sort of hurry down section. Really great track to be able to watch. You got to watch that off track there in that black area. You get too far over, you can get a 0x there and maybe get a little bit of an off track.
Yeah, and 0x, if you go far enough out of the corner, you get that 0x from curb strikes if they're hard enough. So it's not only like a 1x, which is incident points, which is what you get from a regular off track, but you can also get a 0x. which is from a hard enough curb strike or contact with another car. And in qualifying, that's crucial, because in qualifying that will invalidate your lap. In case you're new to iRacing and don't know, don't have the rules quite down yet, that can actually invalidate your lap, so it's very important to avoid those.
Indeed, I remember when the IndyCar series was running the full iRacing calendar during the first parts of quarantine, they were actually talking about how much they enjoyed that and wondered if they could implement it in the series. As we watch David Syrah here working his way around, getting that good draft from the car in front of him, that's really going to help the time. But Ozzy, how much does that hurt when you're coming through those quick sweepers? You lose a lot of downforce off the wings if you're running that close behind somebody.
Yeah, I mean, sag your front wing, it'll cause understeer, it will create turbulent air for your front wing, and I think he's a little bit too close to the back of Aaron Ross as well. So let's see if he was actually able to improve on that improvement. So there you go. I mean, just, running a little bit too close to those last couple of corners. Ideally, you want the draft down the straight line, and then you would want the guy to pull over before the next series of corners. But of course, if you're not teammates, then that kind of takes more coordination than drivers who are actually competing against each other are willing to do.
That can maybe be hurting some of the guys like Joshua Chin who don't have that massive team. A lot of guys running up out around in front of him. As we watch here, David Hebert working his way through these corners onto that last one before he rises up. Hebert currently all the way back in 32nd. He is the last in a time, hoping desperately to turn in a better time than that 2:03 that he has, and he is not going to go faster on this lap.
No, but he shouldn't be too worried. I mean, he's only 1/10 of a second away from Daniel. When you look at the AM drivers, the fastest AM driver at the moment is David Cristelli with a 2:00.4, but then it quickly starts tumbling down into 2:01s and 2:02s. So, I mean, even with that pace, he should be able to hang on to the back of the draft pack. And if he keeps his nose clean during the race, he can still grab some good points.
We see here Tyler Scarelli currently 22nd, working his way up the hill. Just a quick note for some of the lower-ranked drivers. Michael Broomhead unable to complete a lap. He was going out for one hot flyer and wasn't able to do anything to go any faster. So that's going to be him back in 22nd to start. As we watch here, Alex Guyon seeing if he can improve on that 2 minutes 5 seconds, currently 7th place. Hopefully he can do a little bit better than what he's got.
Yeah, I mean, he's just coming up the hill, full throttle here. I'm not thinking quite improvement here yet. Let's see, 2:00.5 to beat, no, 2:00.7, but he still has one more lap to improve that time, and just 0.2 of a second would bring him into that top 5, so he definitely wants to be there.
He does. Here comes Barry Cochran, currently sitting in 29th. He's going to be crossing the line, currently sitting with a 2:02.9, so hoping to improve on that. Nobody in front of him. I'm not sure what this time is going to be here. That looks good, but I think that's a warm-up lap, so that is not going to count. He's not going to move up at all, but he does have time to improve his time as we watch James Stacy now working his way around the track.
Yeah, and he's going to be first of the drivers who are not going to be able to make it to another lap, and he's going to be gutted about that because he lost just one lap time. So, he would have wanted to go that little bit faster, wasn't quite able to find it, but, there you go. Time is a cruel mistress. Anders Aarhus as well, and I love the surname. It reminds me of Denmark, where there is a lovely place called Aarhus, and a couple of Brits who were singing Aarhus in the middle of the street. DJ?
Ozzy, I love when you do that kind of stuff. It always makes me laugh as we see her improve, but that's only going to jump him up a couple of spots there to 18th place as Joshua Chin crosses the line, putting a definitive stamp on it. Chin able to go with a 1:59.594. That is going to put him above Declan Eady right now. Not sure where Eady is on track as we watch Andreas Eick working his way around the final corner.
Yeah, Eick is there, and I'm looking out of the computer window track map, and Eady is not on the track either, so he cannot improve. Andreas Eick, he could improve, he does improve, but does actually rise himself up to 4th place, so that's David Rodriguez relegated to P number 5 right at the dying seconds.
Good lap for Eick. Matthew Hall, one of the independent drivers here, working his way up that long hill, trying to do better than a 2 minute 9 second run that he has right now. He's going to cross the line with a 2:01.1. That's not going to be fast enough. He will start in 12th place as we now watch that last driver, James Stacy, work his way through the final corners.
Yep, Cheddar looking pretty good through the last corner, using all of the track and then some, but not actually gonna finish that lap, coming straight to the pit lane. So there you go. Wasn't happy with that one.
And that is going to set our order here for qualifying as we get ready to grid up here at Road America for this next round of the Indy Pro 2000 Series. And you see here the starting grid, as we mentioned, Joshua Chin starting in that first place position with a 1:59.5. Outside of him is going to be Declan Eady in second. David Serwa coming in with the first driver to come in with a 2-minute time. And in fourth, Andreas Eich. David Rodriguez coming in fifth with Andrew Wood in sixth. Alex Guyon. And the first of our AM drivers, the standout AM driver from Detroit, David Cristelli, coming in 8th place. Olivier Legault in 9th. And Kevin Santana going to be starting off in 10th place.
Austin SPD starting 11th, Matthew Hall will be 12th, Dave Peterson and Christopher Richards running out your row number 7 with Eric LeBlanc and Owen McLeod 15th and 16th. Adam Wright 17th, Anders Aarhus not in the middle of the street but in 18th place, James Stacey 19th and Aaron Ruffs in 20th place.
Starting off on the inside of row 11 is going to be Sean Duhamel, followed by second. Sebastian Pro is going to be in P23, followed by Tyler Gore in P24. Matthew Gunderson will be on the inside of row 13. Outside of him will be Barry Cochran, then followed by Peter Hebron and Paul Wildred, and Daniel Barnett in 30th.
Yeah, and the last couple of places, Brian Matthews, David Hebert, Robert Wiesau Jr. and Michael Broomhead in the outside HA. It's gonna be a long pace lap here. A full pace lap will have show the 6.5 kilometers around Road America, and yes, I will be using metric units.
Well, I'll have to try to do the calculations. I'll pull a calculator here up, but something that we don't need calculations for is reporter Joseph Tabin. Joseph's going to talk a little bit about the weather here at Road America.
Well, there are a couple of non-metric unit 15 miles per hour, but we have been seeing very strong winds throughout the practice session, throughout the qualifying, so that's going to take an effect on the race. And also, we got high temperatures. Normally these cars race in morning conditions, but today we're racing at noon, so the track is going to be slicker, and everyone's going to have to make that adjustment.
Thanks, Joseph. And Ozzy, do you think there's going to be anything to be doing about that increased heat? Is that going to cause a little more slippage, or is it going to be relatively nominal here for these guys running today?
Well, usually with more heat, you add a little bit of wing maybe, but I don't think it's going to really be a factor. These are pretty normal racing conditions. The only thing outside of normality I'm seeing here is that, you know, we are on 24th of October. Is the race day, virtual time, race day. It's 1 p.m. We're in Wisconsin, which is pretty far up north in the United States, and it's 33 degrees Celsius. It's over 80 degrees Fahrenheit track temp, 28 degrees Celsius air temp. That's summer weather. That's like, all sorts of fun. You're bringing your beach toys with you. You're having a nice day out at the beach. That's not October weather. It's 5 degrees Celsius outside here. It's freezing. Bring me a jacket.
I couldn't agree more, Ozzy. I'm from Indiana, so just about a state over and a little to the south, and I know in October I'm certainly putting on a fleece jacket around this time and bundling up around a bonfire. But as you see these guys working their way down through the track, Ozzy, what else do we need to be watching here for these guys? Any big chargers that you think we should be keeping an eye on coming up through the field?
Well, I'm looking at a couple of guys through the field. I'm not seeing anyone who's really, a big charger here. Pro guy starting gonna be only 27th, but he's in the Pro League. Sebastian Proa as well, starting well outside of the top 20. So those are gonna be a couple of guys I'm maybe looking at. And Aaron Ruffs as well. I remember him being fast last season when I covered this. So these guys are gonna be really, really interesting to see. And another thing I want to mention, now that you mentioned charging, is that in the start, his top couple of guys are going to try and break away. David Giroux, Andreas Eich, maybe David Rodriguez too. The front is going to try and break away. They don't want to battle early on. So, it's up to the mid-pack guys. If they want to keep up with the leaders, if they want to stay in the draft train, it's going to be very important not to fight early on, but instead try and make it to the train. Otherwise, they'll be relegated to mid-pack battling all day long.
Now, you brought up that drafting train. Is there going to be any sort of strategy about trying to not be in the lead coming onto these major straights to get the advantage of that draft, or are you just going to want to be going foot to the floor the entire time and stay ahead if you can?
You don't want to show weakness. That's the one important thing. It may sound silly, but you don't want to show weakness. You want to show pace, and the guys will be content letting you lead the race. The last lap, you may want to play the strategy game of trying to get that draft onto the penultimate lap, going into the final lap on the main straight. But aside from that, I don't think we'll be seeing any silly games tonight.
Good to know. Always like a good straightforward race as they make their way here through Canada Corner. That obviously one of the good overtaking zones. Ozzy, I'm thinking that maybe we're going to see some good overtaking into turn 5, potentially into sections in the hurry downs.
Yeah, and turn 2 as well. Okay, that's a bad joke. Basically, turn 2 is not in corner, but turn 1, turn 5, and hurry downs. Those are going to be the big major overtaking opportunities with an outside chance of overtaking to turn 6 and 7 if you can keep it side by side.
I have to be watching for as the Porsche iRacing pace car pulls off here. Joshua Chin now in control of the field, waiting to put the power down. He starts to go and pull away. He does. Declan Eady right behind him trying to sort it out as the whole crowd of Hornets coming in behind as they dive down into the first corner. Chin holding out that Eady behind him. That's Wood pulling out to the outside, thinking about it, not going to have it, but behind him, Sarah and Ike going side by side through turn 1.
Yep, and looks back up field 2, clean through turn number 1. No major incident.
Always good to see that as, oh my goodness gracious, Sawa and Ike continue to go side by side as people are flipping in the background.
Cristelli. David Cristelli is off, and that's Kevin Santana who was off as well, Cristelli, and that was one orange car going wildly.
Oh, that's a major race ender as we're going to come back to that later as the battle for third right now really heating up. Third and fourth is David Rodriguez starting to poke his nose in there. Andrew Wood holding the outside line through those corners ahead of David Rodriguez and Andreas Ike. Slow him down and give some opportunity to Ike here as they move in to turn 8.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity, and started the battle early on and a bit of a wiggle as well there. So, you know, cold tires there, one more crashed car off the back, and well, that's the trouble with the opening lap. You get cold tires, even with the full warm-up lap, you get cold tires, you get drivers having difficulties, and you have all these battles and all these cars around you, and that's gonna cause the breakaway effect we mentioned earlier.
Speaking of that breakaway effect, you can see here just how much Declan Eady and Joshua Chin have broken away as they go through Canada Corner for the first time. That's Eady just trying to hunt down Joshua Chin, maybe hoping to try to get a good advantage of the draft. As you look back further there in the order, Andreas Ike and David Rodriguez absolutely going side by side. Ike is off sideways and into the wall.
Oh, that's harsh for Andreas Ike.
It's the second time we've seen it on this opening lap, just getting a tire off into the grass, and that sends him flying. The same thing happened to Andrew Wood, but not quite decisive effects. As here goes Declan inside of Joshua Chin down the main straight. He's going to have it done in turn 1.
Yeah, and these guys are going to have to be careful right now because they got a massive lead behind them. They got a 2-second lead, which after one lap is quite massive to David Cerut. So they definitely want to work together to extend that gap. But Declan Eady, he also has his own agenda. Josh Chin has won all 4 races this season. He definitely wants to take that away from him, but he also wants to, you know, play this game smart. Don't let David Cerut in there. Don't let Andrew Wood or anybody else in there. Let's make the two-way fight from early on. It's going to be much easier to manage.
I think that's right, as we're going to jump back to the big wreck at the start here in replay as things start to calm down a little bit at the front. You can see here just that whole flock of Hornets coming on through here, and that's going to be, I believe, that's Cristelli getting a little bit wide, and you can see the action just starting as to really hit as they dive into 3.
Yeah, so that's going to be Cristelli going quite wide, and then, you know, Matthew Hall flipping over the barrier. Cristelli as well as Santana, I believe, was the original guy going wide. So here you can see on board of Matthew Hall, car number 911, and boy is he gonna...
He is, and you can see just how much of a crowded field of view he has in front of him. They go down here. That's Cristelli up ahead in that bright blue car. And so there they go running wide. Oh, Cristelli just a solo spin. He gets right into Hall, nowhere for Hall to go, and that effectively takes the 2 up.
Yeah, it does. So very typical for Cristelli, which is, well, not very typical for Cristelli, but rather very typical of lap 1 mistake. Cold tires, you want to get the foot down on the throttle as early as possible. He lost it a little bit on the exit. I tried to correct it, but it snapped back, and that's always one of those things you have to watch out for, because when he overcorrected it, he effectively spun right in front of Matthew Hall, and nothing that poor Hall could do there. He was just a total passenger in for a wild ride, but thankfully these are virtual cars, so everybody will at least be alright, unless he has a VR headset, in which case he's gonna be a little bit dizzy.
Let's remind the audience that this is not just a mistake that you see in the virtual world. If anybody watched the IndyCar race from Road America earlier this year, you saw Graham Rahal and Will Power making a very similar mistake in the exact same corner. So these guys doing exactly what the pros do. As we ride here, you can see that is Andrew Wood and David Rodriguez fighting. That is about the 8th time that Andrew Wood has run wide, and it's going to give Rodriguez the opportunity to take the inside turn into turn 6 there. That is a gutsy move at an almost blind corner.
Yeah, that is very brave, but turn number 6, you can do that. You can pull it off if you can get a good exit out of 5, and once you get to that inside line, then that's pretty much your position to take, and Andrew Wood, to his credit, gave him. And you talk about gutsy moves. How about from the outside into carousel? Andrew Wood gonna go side by side to the kink, you think?
Oh, come on, Andrew. Oh, no, he's going to back off through the kink and just try to get into that draft going down into Canada corner. You saw that mistake there from Rodriguez on your screen, just a little bit of a wiggle. Ozzy, everybody's seeming like they're having problems here, but there goes Wood down the inside. He's going to have to move into Canada corner. As I was saying, though, everybody having problems running wide or getting the power down.
Yeah, that's what you get early on, These cars are going to be heavy. You have the car set up for the long run, and you try to get the pressures into the tires still. And also, if you go a little bit sideways, if you have your diff set up a little bit, you can overheat those rear tires, and as a result of that, it's just a problem that keeps snowballing out of control as they once again come side by side, going into turn number 1 with David Rodriguez on the inside.
Rodriguez going to be able to make that move, and that has allowed Austin Espedy to sneak up there. That's but Wood starting to dive out to the little bit, not going to think better of it. He's going to dive back in line there. They're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 through there, but Wood running wide again, going on the exit there, maybe looking at some penalty points here if he's not careful. But Espedy now really starting to get a good run on Wood as they go into turn 5. He's going to make the move on the inside.
And he's going to get a pass as well, and Andrew Wood, nice save. However, that sent Alex Guillon off to it. That was a nice save from Andrew Wood, but sadly, poor Alex Guillon was the victim of that one. So here we're gonna see a replay, and you're gonna see, watch Andrew Wood. He's the second car in line, and he is gonna get passed by Austin Espedy on the inside here. Espedy just sending it up to the inside, nothing wrong with that one. Andrew Wood on the exit, getting a little bit sideways, and that's going to be Guillon doing a great job avoiding him, however ending up in the grass being so much worse.
We're going to take a big look here at a massive wreck with Olivier Prue. Oh, big hit there coming through the two of them, just absolutely coming together. It looks like a little bit of case of pimping there, Ozzy. That was car 26.
Easier to do than it is to avoid, really, especially in the mid-pack. We have Alex spun around and a couple of other cars as well involved in the big mayhem on the last corner. I think we saw it just on the edge of the screen.
And we're going to watch the replay here as we watch that first incident we were talking about. This is White coming through here. You're going to see him coming in. This is a really tricky corner. You've got to get the power just exit, gets into the grass, and whee! He's going to go off for a little ride into the tire barriers.
Yeah, and that's Kurali as well, spinning kinda, as a collateral, really. First we saw Adam Wright spinning into the barriers, and then Tyler Scorali as well, ending up in the wall, thankfully able to keep going, however. And meanwhile, a couple of guys who are not definitely spinning, Tyler Bohr is going to be in a little bit of a battle between himself and his teammate.
And that is Matthew Gunderson able to pull out the head of that pack. Peter Hebron there, the really heads-up driver, able to pick up the space on Gore. So Gore's going to lose 2 places in one corner, looking to fight Gunderson. Quick note on that Gunderson and Gore, those teammates, they are both AM drivers, so Brown a pro driver. So a little bit to prove here for Hebron as they're going to work their way through the carousel. Really, really wonderful. One of my favorite corners in the absolute world to see them go through here. You can see Gore trying to take a little bit of a different line, trying to get some fresh air on that wing and maximize the downforce before they go into the kink.
Yeah, and let's see if he can make it, gonna get a good run into Canada corner. Is he gonna go to the inside? I think it's gonna be good job. He's gonna try, yep, he's going to the inside, but he's a little bit slower down the straight line, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe a little bit more wing in that purple and green car, and as a result of that, not quite able to get it done.
As you're running here, Ozzy is, oh, there you see Gore trying to make a move to the outside on Hebron. He's not going to get it, going to get a little squirrely. I thought he was going to make for the over-under, but he's got a one-way ticket to the kitty litter, and that's going to allow Barry Cochran to go by on his Robert Besaw Jr. and Aaron Roofs as Gore tries to get back on the track and get that power under him.
Yeah, so that's the kind of mistake you don't make at this stage of the race. Wow. Meanwhile, I think DJ, we should go to the lead because Josh Chin is making a move and he actually got past Dickel Needy into turn number 5. So that's very interesting. And the reason why we're not getting so hyped up yet about the lead change is that these guys were expecting them to work at least a little bit together. And I've been watching with my other eye Josh Chin for the last couple of laps. And, you know, he's been waiting. He's been waiting behind Dickel Needy, but now he decided he doesn't want to wait no more.
No, I think this is almost, we've seen it, we saw it last season, almost to an oval strategy. Then they're kind of trading places back and forth, wanting to pick up on that draft, do it as well as now Chin is in the lead. He's got about a 4 or 5 car length trying to claw that back. As we're going to jump back here, you can see it. This is Donald Olson, Sean Duhamel, and Matthew Gunderson. The battle for 13th as they're going to make their way through the carousel here. Gunderson obviously able to get around his teammate earlier in that battle that you saw, and now setting his sights up ahead on the road. We're going to go to Joseph here, who was taking a look at Aaron Roofs, who I think had a problem in turn 1.
Unfortunately, Aaron Roofs has been having a bit of a troublesome race. He has just spun at turn 1, recovered without any damage, but if you remember earlier, he was involved with, I believe, Kevin saying bit of trouble at the start of the race. Roof is going to have to work his way back up.
He is, as we're going to have to jump back up front as we were right. Declan Eady closing that gap, a little bit of lap traffic in front of him. That is Adam Wright. He's going to stay to the right. Eady now going to get a good run coming into that turn 3 here, all the way down into turn 5 and see if he can capitalize on that draft. But Chin just looks like he got a little bit of a better run off of turn 3.
Yeah, and they were doing solid lap times with Edie leading. Josh Chin is now heading the way, and Edie seems to be content staying behind him, and this actually can be his advantage in that he now has a chance to save some fuel too, because we are expecting if these guys, you know, don't manage to get the best of one another, but are coming to the pit lane this close, and we are going to be expecting pit stops later in this race. The one who makes the shorter stop essentially can win out, and that's where the fuel saving comes into effect, where, you know, you will need to pit anyway, but it's going to be.
Indeed, as you now watch a replay here, this is David Rodriguez trying to work his way around Austin Espedy just a couple of minutes ago, making that dive into turn 5. Rodriguez going to almost beach his car on the rumble strips there. That's going to affect his turnout coming into turn 6, and he is not going to be able to get that move done. He now currently sits about 0.4 of a second back Espedy as they work their way through the kink and down to Canada corner. Rodriguez may try a move here if he's got a lot of guts. I think he's going to. He dives to the inside. Espedy tries to force him a little bit, but Rodriguez has that preferred line. He's going to stick it there. Espedy not giving up, but Rodriguez able to get the car just in front of him.
I think Espedy is going to want to come back to Bill Mitchell. Maybe no, he's not going to go for that move, but that was really aggressive from Fair, but he put his car right on the preferred racing line, and that's what you call an open wheel overtake, where you just take the space away from your driver on the exit corner. You come out just ahead of them, and that was really, really well measured by David Rodriguez. But from Austin's point of view, that's going to look also really aggressive, because suddenly from a side-by-side situation, you just get left no room on the exit, and he looked down to the inside into one, but nothing happening there. So it's going to be still Rodriguez, Espedy, and Andrew Wood, who are in this little bit of a ding-dong battle for 4th place.
And it's a really nice little battle, and you can see as we ride on board with Andrew Wood, just the elevation change that these drivers have to deal with as Espedy trying to suck up into that draft, going into turn 5. That's where we've seen one of the prime overtaking opportunities as Rodriguez goes super defensive, cutting to the inside, forcing Espedy around the outside. Not going to have it. Espedy looking like he may try for an over-under, not going to have enough speed there. Rodriguez runs a little bit wide. Espedy catching himself on the apex. They're going to go single file through 6, up through the hurry downs, as Wood loses a little bit of time there, getting a little squirrely off the exit.
His issue all day long. We've been watching him going wide on those corners, and I thought it might have been dirty air earlier on, and he's still getting dirty air turbulent there, but he's also getting really wide on the, like, it seems like his car first doesn't want to turn in, and then when it turns in, it turns a little bit too much, so you got off-throttle understeer and then on-throttle oversteer, which sounds like fun.
As we jump up to the front, that's going through Canada corner. Joshua Chin going super wide through there, and he and Declan Eady are going to almost touch wheels coming through those last couple of corners. Chin going to have the advantage here. Eady pulls out to the outside line. Chin not letting him have it. They're going to dive down, make up the hill. It looks like Eady could get a little bit of a run here and maybe make a challenge into turn 1.
And this is manna from heaven for David Giroux, who was starting to lose these guys. Declan Eady, once again, he wants to battle. Yep, he goes side by side once more.
By side coming into turn 1, Eady eager to prove himself after the mistakes of last weekend is going to have that preferred line and get P1 away from Joshua Chin, but Chin not backing out easily. He's going to be right up Eady's gearbox here as they through turn 3. Nothing happening there, but we've seen that prime overtaking opportunity into 5. Chin right in the catbird seat for a good draft.
You saw the understeer from dirty air really playing into effect at turn number 3. Josh Chin not getting it turned in properly, and as a result of that, he's going to be fended off by Declan Eady, but he's going to turn the outside still, and that's going to be very brave. And oh, look at that exit from Josh Chin. Brilliant. Absolutely world class.
Absolutely incredible. That little bit of snap oversteer that Chin was able to hold on to runs a little bit wide there coming out of turn 8 as they make their way, excuse me, that was turn 7, as they now make their way into turn 8, setting up for the carousel. Eady not here. He's going to hope to claw back a little bit as they work their way through this amazing corner and down into the kink.
And you can see how up to the inside Declan Eady really holds it. He doesn't want to let it run any way from the inside because he's in the dirty area. He knows that he's going to be a little bit slow through the kink. This is where the draft plays out. I don't think he's going to have him into Canada corner, but he might have him if he stays this close. Yeah, he falls back onto the main straight. He tries. Now, get a good exit from Bill Mitchell then into the last turn. Try and just get that power down nice and early. Don't wiggle too much, Declan, and you'll win. That is what he's thinking of. And Josh Chin actually running a little bit wide from the apex as well. A little bit wide entry, and that's going to be more good news for Declan.
Eady now right in that draft, and just to note, we don't need to jump back to it, but David Rodriguez has gotten around Austin Espedy for fourth place. As you see Eady here getting that great draft, goes to the inside into turn 1. It looks like he's going to have that preferred line. Chin's going to just gives that corner to Eady, knowing that they can play leapfrog a little bit here, and indeed, they are now a whopping 3.8 seconds ahead of David Sawa. So this, whoa, big wiggle there from...
Really well held from Declan Eady, but look what it's gonna do to him. Josh Chin looking behind, shaking his head probably, thinking like, Declan, we're supposed to make a gap here, and now I'm gonna take that lead away from you. Silly little mistake, and a little bit anxious maybe getting on the throttle. But look at the extra. Here we see a battle for number 4.
Oh, that got dangerously close there between Rodriguez and Espedy as they came super close to touching into turn 5. This has just been a great battle back and forth all day long, as now Rodriguez starts to pull a little bit of a gap, and that's going to pull Andrew Wood right up behind Espedy as they work their way through the hurry downs, trying to find anything. Wood looks like he certainly has the good run here.
Yeah, he does, but once again suffering a little bit from those issues we mentioned earlier. You know, he's running a little bit wide on the entries, taking to the middle lane to carousel, and then on the exits he has to be really careful of not planting the throttle a little bit too hard. So, you know, that's gonna be harsh on his tires. And once again, you know, he's just understeering off in a couple of those corners. He's gonna still have a good run off the drop, but that car doesn't look neutral. It looks a little bit pushy to me.
It does. He took a super, super aggressive line there, almost signaling the pass he was going to try to make yards and yards before the corner, but Wood's still going to be here in a good catbird seat to try to make a move up as they work their way through these final corners and really try to do something here. But Wood, once again, on the exit of those corners, just not getting the run that he needs. That's going to let Espedy pull away from him.
Yeah, so these cars, Indy Pro 2000s, as they're called, which was the Pro Mazda or the Star Mazda, as it was called at some point, is that these cars have a limited slip differential on the rear, and you can adjust it. You can adjust the diff ramp angles, the coast angle, and the drive angle, as well as the differential preload. And what that's gonna do is basically the coast ramp comes into play when you're not on the throttle, whereas the drive ramp comes into play when you're on the throttle. So I think Andrew Wood has a little bit too tight of a coast ramp and a little bit too tight of a drive ramp as well, so too much differential on both ends, and that's going to cause it to understeer off the throttle and oversteer on the throttle. I think. Haven't driven that car, but just looking at it.
Well, you use a lot of terms that this commentator's not entirely familiar with, Ozzy, but I'm going to take your word for it. As we watch here as they work their way through those sections, trying to find something, Wood just not able to close down at all as they keep working their way around here going into the carousel. Front line is Espedy slows. Did he maybe get a cut track warning there or something?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he locked up pretty hard into turn number 8, and then he just let Andrew Wood pass. I don't think he was, comfortable being in the lead of Matt Wood and Andrew Wood, and I think he was also a little bit concerned that they're gonna lose the draft of David Rodriguez, which is what's happening to them soon. So I don't think he was trusting his pace, and he's thinking Andrew Wood is gonna be a little bit faster. He's gonna help and tow me right into the battle for the 4th place.
Well, there you go as we jump back up front here. Declan Eady trying to reel in Joshua Chin. I thought Eady was going to have a good run, but you saw it there on your screen, getting a big wiggle out of that fun a little bit. But now as they work their way out of turn 1 and through this non-existent turn 2, we're actually going to jump to the pits here as Austin Espedy is the first of our leaders to come into the pits. Joshua, Joseph, what do you see?
Down pit road from 10th place on track, slowly approaching his pit stall. It's a very slow pit speed limit here at Road America. Dangerously and excruciatingly long, but he stops in his pit stall, probably going to get all 4 tires changed, get a full load of fuel for the rest of the field, and he's out.
Pretty good stop there from Austin Espedy, and we'll have to see if that undercut is going to work as we are going to jump back up to the front of the pack here as Declan Eady's still trying to claw him back in. Nothing happening here as they work their way through the hurry downs, but he's getting a little close through that turn 8 turn as they work their way through the carousel. Espedy trying to do something as we jump back now to Alex Guyon in P7, who's in a heck of a battle with Christopher Richards for that P7 spot.
Yeah, and shout out to Christopher Richards. He's an AM driver, and he's currently ranked 2nd in his class. The leading AM driver, Dave Peterson, right now in 6th place. Richards, he's in 9th place at the moment, and battling with 2 pros, Alex Guyon and James Stacy. So he's made his way up from 14th place on the grid, and Stacy as well, he's up.
Ozzy, I've got to cut you off. Up front, we've got major conflict as Declan Eady ran into the side of Joshua Chin. There was a contact coming outside of Canada corner, and that looks like suspension damage, maybe for Eady. Both of them diving to the pits. We're going to watch it here.
Yeah, so you're going to have Eady getting the run onto Josh Chin, and Josh Chin is going to give him the position on the inside, and then Josh is going to look for a crossover here. You can see it, and Eady just getting a little bit clumsy contact, but really incidental. Both could have left a little bit more room. Eady's mistake, and then as a result of that, they're going to dive into the pit lane. Wow, and here we see one more look from it.
You can see it here as we watch it. Good move from Eady, but he's going to get a little bit squirrely and just a donk there on the side of it. But we're going to jump up to the pits with our pit reporter, Joseph. What are we seeing?
Well, they both jumped into the first 2 pit stalls, and they must not have had too much damage because they both got out pretty quickly. So I think they got lucky there. These cars are reasonably tough with that sort of wheel-to-wheel contact, and it looks like Chin and Eady got away with it.
Got to be honest with you, I'm absolutely floored by that, as I could have sworn I saw Declan Eady's tires flapping off there, but Declan Eady now out in front by about 2 seconds over Joshua Chin. So clearly the advantage going to him in the pits sequence.
The advantage
Sorry, go on.
The advantage definitely did go to Declan Eady there. Maybe he had a little bit less damage to repair. Maybe it was like 2 and 5 seconds respectively, but it's definitely not over for Joshua Chin. It's only about a 1.5 second gap between the two of them.
Do you think it's possible, Joseph, that Josh Chin could have took tires and Edie decided that, I'd rather not?
That is also a very real possibility. I'm not sure the tire wear is too bad around here, so maybe Edie didn't think the tires were necessary.
Okay, and DJ, well, that's gonna throw a little bit of a hammer in the works of Josh Chin and he in a row, because right now he has to catch up Declan Eady, and the gap is 1.8.
It is, and that's going to be just on the outside of that draft effectiveness, so we're going to really have to see them push ahead and see what Joshua Chin can do here as they go. You see him coming through Canada corner there, just trying to put the pressure down. Edie able to hold it down, and Joseph, I understand that you're reporting both of the guys took tires.
And the difference between the stops was actually only 1 second between the two of them, so that may just be who was better on the throttle or who just waited too long.
Well, there you go. You can see what a good pit sequence can do for the both of them there. As you watch on screen here, that's Edie leading Chin. Once again, that gap about 1.8 seconds. David Sawah completely dropped back then, about 5.8 seconds behind them. So they have completely gapped him, as all of our field at this point has pretty much made their one mandatory pit stop. And there you see Joshua Chin pushing very hard, running a little bit wide. That's going to drop him a little bit back of Edie. Ozzy, is Chin maybe going to be pushing a little bit too hard here, you think?
Well, I think he wants to get up close quickly because, we don't have forever in this race. We have about 17.5 minutes left in this event, and as a result of that, Josh Chin, he can't wait for too long, and he doesn't want Declan Eady to get away with it easy. And as a result of that, he wants to make up the gap as soon as possible, as we are seeing now 12th, 13th, and 14th, Aarhus, Gunderson, and LeBlanc in a bit of a battle, and I love these mid-pack battles. They're always wilder than what you get up front.
Oh, they are. It's very much the guys that just have nothing to lose, trying to fight for every position they can. As I thought there, Matthew Gunderson was going to make a hard move, but that is going to be LeBlanc now trying to make a move. Gunderson going to the outside of Aarhus, going to run a little bit wide. LeBlanc now going to try to make a move back up the middle. No, they're going to stay single file through turn 6, but we'll have to see what happens in the hurry downs.
Yeah, we will have to see. That was pretty well stuff for both of them. And Aarhus, as a result of that, retains the lead of this pack, but for how long? That's a good question. I don't think we'll see anything into Carousel yet, but stick with this, because at the exit of Carousel, you have a straight, then you have the pink, and then you have Canada corner. And we've seen drama to Canada corner, even between the leaders today.
Canada corner never safe for anybody at Absolute Watch here. They're all just going to be going 1, 2, 3, trying to go through, trying to find something, anything that they can. Just a quick note on that Anders Aarhus is a pro driver, as is Eric LeBlanc. Matthew Gunderson in that purple car is an AM driver, so definitely a little pride on the line for everybody, as that's a little bit of a different line there. We're seeing Aarhus running a little bit of a closer apex, but it's going to pull him ahead of Gunderson and give him the advantage for now.
Yeah, for now, and we should be jumping up front into T number 5, because there's a good battle between these two guys. Once again, Andrew Wood and Austin Espedy. Espedy made that earlier pit stop, mind you, and Andrew Wood, but they've completely lost David Rodriguez, so now it's no longer for 4th place, it is now for 5th place.
So that's going to be a little bit of a heartbreak for them, but now use bridge and down into turn 5. Espedy not really close enough to make a move. He's going to try to stick nice and close, maybe make his next best opportunity is going to be through Canada corner. As we're hearing something may have happened to Eric LeBlanc here, as he is back in the pits for. We'll have to get back to you on exactly what happened to him, as that is an unexpected pit stop at this point.
Yeah, it would be very unexpected, and I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary watching back, so it might have been just him and having a case of, hitting too little, maybe putting too little fuel in. That can happen really easily. Joseph, any news?
I don't see anything out of the ordinary here. He was battling with Gunderson, or not Gunderson, one of Gore's teammates, and I am not quite sure what ended with him in the pits, but he got there, he got some repairs, and he's back out on track.
All right, we'll just have to chalk that up to mystery at this point. If we find out anything about it, we'll let you know. As you watch on screen here, Andrew Wood getting closer and closer to Austin Espedy as Joshua. We're going to stick here, though, as you watch Wood trying to work his way, get in the draft, get as far up and close to Espedy as possible. Really going to get some quick timing. And he's going to get the good draft. I think he may just have enough to make a run if he chooses to do it. But no, he's going to stay back in the braking zone, running a little bit exits. Ozzy, I think what you were talking about with the diff, just not Wood's day for that car.
Yeah, he really has to wrestle that car to get it turned in, and then it's really loose off the curbs as well. And, he backed off there on the bench. He didn't want to put the travel now between himself and Austin Espedy. And I think the reason is that even though they got a sizable gap behind, it's not only about 4 seconds back. So, 4 seconds back from those guys. So if they start battling and they keep battling all the way to the end, then Peterson is going to have a chance to join the P5 battle.
And we're going to jump back up to the front here because your eyes are not deceiving you. Joshua Chin has caught Declan Eady only about 0.4 of a second back as they work their way through the kink and down through Kettle Bottoms, working their way towards Canada Corner. Chin able to claw back that about 1.8 second gap all the way up. He's going to make him outside of Canada Corner. That's a gutsy move from him there. Chin trying to make it work. It's a little squirrely. Eady's going to be able to hold him off as they come back through turns 13 and 14. Chin now, his next best opportunity is going to be on the main straight.
Yeah, Chin, he decides to eat it. That's Josh Chin looking to the outside, seeing that, okay, Declan, you can hold off the inside. You know what? I can make passes from both sides. And that's what he's thinking. And he's really slow roasting Declan Eady here. Once again to the inside, and this time Declan doesn't defend.
Yeah, Declan's going to let him go here. I think part of what Declan Eady is going to be thinking about... Oh, they're going to come together again! They're going to come together again. Chin slides through the corner. Eady goes off into the gravel. Chin is going to pull... I don't know how much damage either of them sustained. They are both able to carry on. But once again, these leaders coming together.
Yeah, and this is just Josh Chin, he's drifting all the way to the left in the braking zone, and that's what you don't want to do, leaving Declan Eady with very little room. Now, Declan may have inched just a bit to the right, but that's just Josh Chin trying to pinch him off, coming into the corner. And the last thing you want to do with these race cars, with any race car, is move underway with it, no damage, but that's going to be gutting for Declan Eady, who had such a difficult season so far, and really a chance to fight for the win here at Wisconsin, and it all most likely goes away to nothing.
Absolute heartbreak for Declan Eady. You mentioned it, a little bit of a rough season. He hasn't been on the podium since the first round of this series. We're going to jump back to the battle for 12th, 13th, and 14th. Again, that's going to be Gunderson, Duhamel, and Arhus. The name switched around just a little bit. That's Gunderson leading the trail with Duhamel in the middle there, and Arhus trying to make something, anything, as they work their way down into turn 5.
Yeah, so gonna be very interesting to see how this one plays out. Very interesting line from Matthew Gunderson there. You saw him really braking early and turning sharply into turn number 5, whereas most drivers prefer to carry a little bit more speed through there. But look how it got car turning nice and smooth, almost driving it like a GD car as opposed to an open wheeler. So let's see if this is a trend or if this is just a one-time thing. No, looks like more of a normal line through turn number 8 there. So, Sean Duhamel just following him, trying to make sense of that one, and Anders Arhus really using a bit of a different line there, holding it more to the inside and then trying to get a good exit pathway out of carousel. So I'm definitely thinking, Arhus, well, he's a co-driver, he should be the fastest of the 3, and he's going to get a great run at Duhamel, I think, in that corner.
And there you see him making the move on the inside of Canada Corner around Duhamel. He's going to try to hold that line. No, he's going to back off. Let Duhamel go. Duhamel's going to run a little bit wide there, and that's going to allow Arhus to make a crossover. He's going to hold it back again. Arhus, discretion, the better part of valor here for him as they work their way to turn 1 now.
Oh, and ahead of them, that's Gunderson, a big contact with Gunderson and Sean Duhamel two AM drivers who were doing so well. And you said discretion, better part of valor, where our host couldn't definitely see that one coming. Going run a little bit too wide, catch the tire on the grass, trying to save it back, cuts the grass again, and then right into the racing line. And that's a heavy contact.
Absolutely nowhere for Duhamel to go on that, and that's going to end both of their races. You can see him coming back in. We're going to watch this one more time. Arhus's point of view, you'll be able to see everything absolutely perfectly here, working their way through those final corners, trying to find something. You can see Gunderson there, that green car just ahead, starts to get wide there, catches it, comes back, gets the grass again, and blammo, right onto Duhamel. And Anders Arhus says, thank you very much, I'll take both of those two positions, moving him up to 12th place.
Yeah, he saw that one coming. You know, he saw on the exit of the corner a little bit of smoke, a little bit of a car getting sideways, and then he thought, the one place he's not gonna be is the inside of the track if he overcorrects it. And once he saw the car coming back to as a result of that, that really played into his hands so well. And Duhamel nowhere to go but into the car in front of him, into the Gunderson. So that's bad luck for those guys. Good luck for Anders Arhus. He's gonna continue in 12th place. And I've been looking at that 5th place battle, and we're looking at it on screens right now, DJ. Austin Espedy and Andrew Wood round, whatever number it is now.
Yeah, they just keep going at it. Is Wood now able to get the advantage, going to get the preferred line and take the lead of that battle, getting him into P4, coming off of turn 1, 2, turn 3 complex there. Wood's going to be able to get it. Little bit of a fight there. Once again, you've been pointing that out all day, Ozzy, as now Espedy going to be hoping to take advantage of the draft down into turn 5.
Yeah, so, those guys, we've been pointing out, it's once again understeering and then oversteering on the exit easier as the race rolls along, with the car behaving a bit better once it's lighter on fuel. So, coming to the pit window and then coming now towards the end of the race, and the car should be getting easier to handle, but should have, could have, would have. He's still struggling a little bit, but Espedy is struggling even more behind him, actually running wide on turn number 8, and he's going to lose a lot of time with that one. I think he came a little bit too close to the back of Andrew Wood.
Yeah, it looks like he just had to fight it. We're going to jump up to P3 here, as it looks like that incident between Joshua Tin and Declan Eady has either damaged Eady's car or his psyche, and it has allowed David Surratt to really close up. Only 0.6 of a second. You can see how much he's been clawing back there. Almost a second a lap over the past 2 laps. Averages out to about 2 seconds, if I'm right. But that's Surratt closing in now on Declan Eady. He's going to be in the draft of Eady for the first time since about lap 3. So this is about to get very interesting for second place.
Yeah, that might be just Declan Eady's day, going from bad to worse. 202.1 for Declan Eady, 200.9 for David Surratt. 1.2 seconds once again clawed back out of that gap, and now they're within touching distance, and we still have 5.5 minutes to go. We have about 3 laps to go in this race, and Declan Eady just desperately trying to stay away from David Surratt, but David Surratt is having none of it. I think he wants the second place, and why wouldn't he?
And I think he may try to go for it here as they turn 5, and looks like Eady almost just gave him to the spot. I'm starting to wonder if Eady maybe has some damage on that car that we can't see, that's just absolutely slowing him down, because he did not put up any sort of a fight there, Surratt.
Man, Joseph, I think you were on the pit lane listening to the radio communications.
Yep, he came on the radio to say to David Surratt, just take it. Take the position. We don't need to battle anymore. So it seems like Declan Eady is just trying to nurse this damaged car home, if it even is damaged. Sometimes in these cars you can have phantom damage where you think you're driving a damaged car, but you're actually not. But you're just as slow anyway. So we'll see what's going on with Declan Eady at the end of the race.
Yeah, we definitely will. That car looks pretty good, but the underside of the car, the underbody of the car could be damaged. And as we know, that can have a big effect on the driver, maybe something on the suspension, the chassis. Either way, DJ, we are not getting a good battle for second place by the looks of things, but we're once more getting good battles on screen.
We are indeed, as that's Austin Eddie trying to claw back from that early mistake he made, challenging David Rodriguez. You saw him there trying to go wide around the carousel. He's now going to take the outside line through Canada corner, back off just a little bit of it, fall back in line, getting nice and squirrely. There's Rodriguez, as that's going to give a prime opportunity for Espedy here as they go into the final couple of corners. Espedy right up his gearbox, going to hold back and just get that draft going down the main straight.
He will, and you know, these guys having a wonderful battle here, and you know, Espedy, for what it's worth, you know, fighting with David Rodriguez here. David Rodriguez has had an issue earlier on because that's Andrew Wood far away from them, and even Espedy looking to the outside, getting great run, and that looks very easy, you know. David Rodriguez just not fighting it at all. So both of those cars actually having trouble. Declan Eady and David Rodriguez getting into trouble towards the end of this race, and that's not good for those boys.
No, and those two drivers are teammates, so I wonder if that could be a setup issue as well as maybe just in long-run pace that they're going to struggle near the end of the race. Obviously, Eady's troubles can be attributed to that damage that he had, but Rodriguez now going to look like he's thinking about fighting back. Maybe no, thinks better of it, just slides in right behind Espedy here, coming through turn 5, going to try to just see what he can do through the hurry downs.
Yeah, and you know, trying to play the long game here. He's still got time. He hasn't lost anything. He can hang with him on those straights. He can't hang with him in the corners. You can see how far the car was pushing in turn number 7. He doesn't want to turn in. It's got the turbulent there. Those tires that have been tortured all race long as well, even getting new ones, and those have been tortured too. So David Rodriguez really struggling to hold on in the corners, but once they come to the straight line, he might have a chance into, guess where? Well, Canada corner.
And you can really see it there coming through that high speed, being left-hander up the carousel. The Rodriguez just kind of fighting the wheel a little bit, trying to keep things in line, but he's going to tuck up in the draft the best he can behind Espedy. I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move here, but if he can keep it together through 13 and 14, he may be able to make a run down the main straight. As we close in here, 2 minutes to go, that's going to be about a lap, so I think 1, maybe 2 more laps here at Road America, and that's going to be all she wrote.
All things must come to an end, all good things must come to an end, and so will this race, but it's not over yet. Not for these guys. Espedy and David Rodriguez still fighting for the top 5 honor, some good points at stake here, and of course is the glory and the honor of, you know, fighting against one another, having a clean, great fight and saying, you know, I was better than you today. That's the driving force, at least back when I was driving, that was the number one thing. I don't care about points. What are points? You can't see points. It's not like you're race. It's not like you're getting, you know, certificates out of points or anything, but what you will get is that satisfaction of not only being ahead, but also beating another human being, crushing them. And that's what Ed Rodriguez is trying to do, but outbreaking himself. Bad.
Yep, I think Rodriguez was taking your advice a little bit too close to home there, and just ran very wide on the entrance there coming into turn 5, and that's pretty much going to get Austin Espedy a bigger advantage, probably about 10 car lengths, about 0.8 of a second, now separating the two of them, one of our closer battles on track. So Espedy looking like he's going to be go here as we're going to the leader, Joshua Chin, who has been able to pull out a 7-second advantage on David Sarra as he works his way through the back corners.
Yep, coming to white flag this time around, and you know, we speculated earlier on in that battle with Declan Eady, who's gonna beat it? Is Declan Eady finally gonna be the savior? And you know, the one who can beat Josh Chin played his cards right once again, persevered through the battles, persevered through the earlier damage, a little bit of contact, the pit stops, and he's gonna be the master of Road America in about, another 3.5 miles. Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
I was about to say, Ozzy, I'm going to knock on every piece of wood I have around my casting station right now to make sure that's okay. As we watch Chin here working his way down under the cheese bridge and into turn 5 for the last time of this circuit. It's a little bit of lap traffic in front of him up the road, but I don't think it's going to bother him too much as he executes a perfect drive out of turn 5 and up the hill into the blind turn 6.
Yeah, and coming towards turn number 7, following Oliver Legault, who is in 20th place, almost a lap down, and Oliver actually, he wants to finish on the lead lap. He does want to. I don't think Josh cares about that, to be honest, but he doesn't have to hurry anywhere. He can finally, not hurry through hurry downs, not hurry through carousel, and appreciate the wonderful scenery. Why don't they make racetracks like this anymore? Why do we have tarmac runoffs so much, I know safety and such, but isn't this such a beautiful venue?
It truly is, although we are getting told in our ear that the sight lines aren't exactly lovely, but I have had the experience of sitting in Canada Corner, and I can tell you that the sight lines there are quite spectacular. As you see Josh Chin making his way through that very corner, he's going to make his way up around the track and up through turn 14. Right now. Just a quick note in the back that David Rodriguez did get by Austin Espedy, but we're going to stay with our leader here, Joshua Chin, as he climbs this epic hill and will take his another consecutive victory here in the Indy Pro 2000 Series.
Perfect so far from him. And behind him, it's going to be David Saru. He was kind of quiet all race long, but managed to claw back into second place just ahead of Declan Needy.
So he's going to take that, but we're going to jump back to P4 and P5, who are still furiously battling it out here. That's Rodriguez and Espedy. Rodriguez weaving this way and back, trying to break the draft, and he's going to be able to hold the line for a P5 over Austin Espedy.
Wow, that was more than one move from David Rodriguez, I think. I think the FIA, if they would be sanctioning this series, they would have a couple of words to say about that. Good battle on screen as well.
This is for P12 right now. That's Tyler Gore and Ambulance Arhus as they make their way out of Canada Corner and through turns 13 and 14. That's Arhus behind, trying to find anything, both getting a little bit squirrely. They're out of 13. They're going to dive into 14. Arhus taking a wide line, trying to maximize the speed. I think he had to fall back. Is Arhus maybe running out of fuel or something? He just lost a whole bunch of time there.
Yeah, I think he was getting a little bit precarious off into the last corner, and as a result of that, lost that position to Tyler Gore on the last lap. So Tyler Gore, all quietly, an AM driver, mind you, finishing home in 12th place after starting 24th. And I think he might be one of the hard...
Exactly who that hard charger was and more when we come back to the PRL Indy Pro 2000 Series. We'll have interviews right after this break. Joshua Chin able to go 5 for 5, taking the victory here at Road America. He will bring the car home in P1, followed by David Surratt in P2, and Declan Eady, after a little bit of contact there across the field, coming home in P3. Andrew Wood finally being able to best the drivers ahead of him and get into P4. P5, David Rodriguez beating out Austin Espedy in that great battle. Dave Peterson, our top-ranked AM driver, in P7. Alex Guyon in 8th. James Stacey in 9th. And Christopher Richards in 10th.
Owen McLachlan gonna finish in 11th place ahead of Tyler Gore, who made it to 12th in that last lap. Anders Arhus 13th, Donald Olson 14th. Also our hard charger of the day, making up 15 places. Peter Hebron, Eric LeBlanc, Kevin Santana, Dave Cristelli, Brian Matthews are gonna finish 20th place.
And bringing up some more of our drivers in finishing a lap down, David Hebert in 21st, Daniel Barnett in 22nd, Adam Wright in 23rd, Tyler Scarelli 24th, Barry Cochran 25th, Andreas Ike 2 laps down in 26th, Matthew Gunderson 6 laps down in 27th, Sean Duhamel in 28th, Robert Bissau Jr. in 29th, and Aaron Roofs in 30th place.
Yep, and last couple of drivers, Michael Broomhead, Sebastian Proa, Paul Waldrich, and Matthew Hall. And I believe DJ Clark is soon ready with some of our interviewees here.
I am indeed, and I am here with our winner, Joshua Chin. Josh, that's certainly one of the more eventful races we've seen out of this year, but able to take it home for the 5th consecutive victory.
Yeah, first off, I got to start with apologizing to Declan. I kind of lost track of where his car was and got into him, and I feel bad about that. I think even without the contact, it probably still would have gone about the same way in terms of me getting ahead of him, but I'd much rather not do it that way. But yeah, eventful, it's definitely understating it a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Watching the replay back on a lot of it, it looks like you lost a lot of time coming into the pits after that first little bit of contact between the two of you. Did you have damage, or was it just an issue of getting down to that limiter?
No, I was right behind him on pit road entry. It was the same as last week, so I probably lost about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds there, and then getting the tires back up to temperature for about 2-3 laps, losing a little bit of time there.
Gotcha. Well, you're pretty much just establishing an absolute stranglehold on the championship gateway. How do you think you're going to do?
I think I have a good shot. I think Andreas will probably win there again. He was really good last year, and he's just been really good at gateway no matter what we've run in, and this car is no exception. But I think a top 5 is definitely on the cards. I don't think I'm going to go 6 for 6, but I can try, I guess.
Well, we'll certainly be here to watch you try. Before we let you go,
everyone, Team Talent, Team Chimera, Andrew, Austin had good finishes. Andreas, unfortunately, didn't get the finish he probably should have, but he'll go to Gateway and he'll probably win there. And thanks to Craig's Setup Shop and Wygan's Sim Shop for the rig, you can get that same setup that I ran tonight on Craig's Setup Shop, and it runs pretty well. So.
Fantastic. Joshua, congratulations, and thank you for talking to us. We're now going to turn it over to our pit reporter, Joseph, who is going to be standing by with David Sirah.
Yep, David Sirah, once again, the leaders run into trouble, and you pick up the pieces. Another second-place finish. How'd you pull it off?
Yeah, thank you. It was a nice race. It was a lonely one. Pace was good. The Lavoie Motorsport 360 cutting offer car was running well here. I wanted to catch the draft with the leaders in the first lap, but I lost a little bit of time defending. So from there on, I was alone all race long, except when I pink.
And I believe I heard Declan Eady on the radio say, take the position. Was he just letting you by at the end there?
Yeah, I think he was just looking to lose as little time as possible. So I think he wanted to follow my draft and be sure to finish on the podium.
And well done on that podium. And is there anyone you'd like to thank for your second place finish?
All the Motorsport and Nitro 360 and Karting Offered, and you guys, you're doing a very good job.
Thank you. And for an interview with our third place finisher, I will throw it back to DJ, who I believe is in contact with Declan Eady.
I am indeed, Declan, for the second week in a row, man. It looked like you were going to have it, and then things just kind of fall apart. Talk me through that race.
But I feel like, like last week, I had the car to at least challenge for the win. And it's just kind of a shame that me and Josh got tangled up. It was a really good battle until then. I think we were both comfortable enough that we were going to be able to outrun David. Even, things happen, especially when there's a lot of pressure and it's for the win. So I watched the replay of the incident. I don't think you can really put that on anyone's shoulders. I think it's just one of those things that happens. Definitely ready to bounce back next week.
And next week we are headed to Gateway on an oval. How do you like your chances there?
Well, I mean, I made Phoenix a silly mistake, but I feel like I had the car there too. So, I think if we get the setup done and to start turning some laps, top 5 finish is definitely in the cards there. I know Andreas is very fast on the ovals, so he'll definitely be the favorite for the win there. But I'll see if I can hang with the lead pack and just kind of see how it goes.
Well, we'll be watching for sure as we're here in the booth commentating it. But anybody you need to thank tonight?
I just want to thank our sponsor, G Performance, giving us the gear we need, as well as ButtKicker, Formula Hyper on Instagram, who's our social media partner, and Abruzzi Sim Gear. So I think with that, thank you guys for the host, and see you next week, hopefully.
We'll see you then, Declan. And that's going to wrap up our coverage here series. We want to give a special thanks to the ButtKicker. And you can find all of their products at thebuttkicker.com, as well as the iRacing Esports Network. We also want to thank all the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. An additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. I want to thank all of the team here today. That's Ozzy, Joseph, Joe behind the scenes, and Dougie Beard on cameras. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including our upcoming races, you can check us out at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSRC Channel, Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel, or our Instagram at GSRC_Graham. You heard us mention it tonight during the interviews, but our next race is this same time next week, Thursday, October 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern at Gateway. So an oval here, it'll be great. If you also want to check out some of the upcoming races that we have here on the GSRC network, you will see them on your screen now. So check them out and mark them down on your calendars. Up next on GSRC, the Throwback IndyCar Series is going to be at Chicagoland at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. So for all of us here at GSRC, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.